And welcome to this episode of the new season 5 of the Dr. Tech Show, where myself, Pauline Roche, and Sweyn Hunter, and often guests talk about digital topics, including the world of online communications and digital inclusion, in a show which was the brainchild of digital storyteller, the late John Popham. And as usual, we go for a weather report. Sweyn, how's the weather been this week where you are?
Well, not too bad. And today's, until 10 minutes ago, was a lovely, bright, sunny day, but it's clouded over now. So back to normal.
hmm And here in Birmingham, it is just looks like it's been damp on the ground, but it's not raining at the moment. But yeah, plenty of cloud in the sky. And yeah, so it's a day for staying in and hugging the radiator and listening to the Dr. Tech show or watching the Dr.
Absolutely.
Tech show even. So yeah. So let's go straight into the dates that we've picked up in the last week or so.
Okay. So the first one we found is International Stress Awareness Week, which is an annual event dedicated to raising awareness about stress and its impact on mental and physical health. And I thought this was quite appropriate as we start the long run up to Christmas, which always is a stressful time of year. Um, The campaign seeks to educate individuals and organizations about stress-related issues and provide resources and strategies for coping with stress in healthy ways. And it also encourages open conversations about stress, and mental well-being to reduce the stigma surrounding these topics. So, various suggestions for taking part in the week, including self-care, prioritizing our own mental well-being by practicing stress reduction techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, or exercise, sharing information using social media and other platforms to share tips and awareness and resources, and maybe even organize events. So that is International Stress Awareness Week.
Mm.
And the second one, which I thought was possibly related in some ways, because it's a subject that causes a lot of stress at times in everybody's life, is Talk Money Week, which is another week of awareness, but this time focusing on encouraging open conversations about personal finance, money management, and financial well-being, and aiming to break the taboo surrounding money-related discussions to empower individuals and families to make informed financial decisions. And this provides a platform for sharing knowledge, seeking advice, and improving financial literacy. So all sorts of topics come into this, such as budgeting, saving, investing, debt management, financial planning. And it emphasizes the importance of financial education and encourages people to take control of their finances to try to achieve their own financial goals and to give them a chance of securing their future. And this year, the theme is do one thing to improve financial well-being, to make a bit of noise about it and to inspire others to do the same. So that is Talk Money Week.
Mm.
And those
Excellent.
two dates that we have marking this week.
Lots of useful information there. It's organized by is it the Money Advice Foundation or the Money?
The Money and Pensions Service.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's a charity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great stuff. Always good to have those kind of conversations. As you say, it can be very stressful. So
Hmm.
um we all need to do that to make the most of what we have. Okay, moving
Indeed.
on to events. This one technically might not appear relevant to our subject of online communications and digital inclusion, but actually, yeah, the election in the US will influence, the whole world. So, Newspeak House, our friends at Newspeak House in London, are organising a US election night marathon tomorrow night at Newspeak House in London. They're going to have a fantastic group of academics, journalists, and pollsters ready to break down the election, its implications, and share their insights. So they're going to be joined by Josephine Harmon, who's the assistant professor at Northeastern University, Deborah Cleaver, the founder of Vote America, Christina Coloroso, executive director of Analyst Institute, Maria Elena Hancapier, executive director of the National Immigration Law Centre, and Marwan Riak from Electoral Calculus. And the event's going to be moderated by Laurie Penny, who's a political journalist. So they're promising all the action with a live stream of CNN's coverage, So pe attendees won't miss a beat, and they're also offering food, drinks, and political junkies. So if that's your bag, if I was in London, I'd certainly be going to that. They are the organizer has been, or the person who's Ed Superior, who organizes events at Newspeak House. He's the what do they call him? He's the director, but it's some other name for it. Um, uh, has been asked whether it's going to be live
Dean.
streamed. Dean, that's the one, has been asked whether it's going to be live streamed, and he's looking into it. So if we hear that it's
Oh
for the
wow.
end of the show that it is going to be live streamed, we'll let you know. Is that the sort of thing you might turn up for,
Oh, I might very well
Swain?
turn up for that sort of thing.
Mm,
And certainly if it was
yeah.
live streamed, I
Mm.
think I b between what is it, 11 p.m. and 2 a.m.
They're starting at 7:30, so they're kicking off early. But yeah, they're
Oh,
going on till
right.
2 a.m.
Right. Okay. Yes. I think
Yeah.
I would want to be home in my pajamas by
Well, you can
midnight or
probably go
so
to
for
it,
that.
go to it in your
And also,
pajamas.
also, I also I think that they're possibly quite optimistic about getting a result by 2 a.m. on
Yeah,
Wednesday. But
yeah.
we'll see. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Mm,
It'll be a fantastic event anyway.
yeah. Well, of course, a lot of people have already voted, haven't they? They've done on,
Something like 70
postal
million
votes.
out of
Yeah,
300. Well, the total population of the US, I don't know how many electors there are, is 300 million. So that's quite a lot.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Interesting to see how quickly the results will come in. But yeah, it would like be good to be part of those conversations.
Although in
So
some
may
places, I believe that actually slows things down because
yeah,
they have to verify and
ah,
do extra
okay,
processes to
okay,
advance votes in some cases, I think.
okay.
Anyway,
Well,
who knows how all the 50 different states all do their own elections differently. That's why things take so long, one of the
okay,
reasons.
okay. Well, I hope they have a wonderful time, and we won't comment on who the winner might be, but I'm sure it'll make a difference in the world, whatever
Mm,
happens.
indeed.
Moving on to 13th November, so next week, there is an event organised by our friends at Third Sector Lab in Scotland called Transform Your Communications with Open Working. And this is encouraging people to build openness and transparency by effectively communicating what you're learning and doing. Working in the open is a quick way to build understanding and trust with your funders, your colleagues, and your community. And this is based on their well-received 8-week open working program. The workshop will answer the following questions. What is open working? What is a week note? How to overcome barriers to open working? And developing a structure that works for you. I'd say we work in the open fairly much, Swain.
I would say so, yes, more or
Mm.
less. Um, yes, here we are.
Bringing information to people,
I mean, obviously, we
sharing.
have hours and hours and hours of preparation and
Yes.
research. Of course, we do. But yeah, I
Mm.
suppose we could live stream some of that as well, but I think it'd be very boring.
Mm. Yeah. Short video. Week notes. I've talked about this for ages, and I'd really like to start doing it because I think it's great that people do share openly what they do. There's a whole website, isn't there? Weeknote.es, I think it's called,
Yep.
or weeknote.es, um, where mostly people work in the public sector, share what they're doing for the week. But I know John Fitzgerald at SCVO in Scotland, he also does week notes, and that's somebody who's kind of a digital leader modeling open working.
Yep.
Um, so it's good to know that people in our sector are my sector anyway are doing that as well. So yeah, that's
Mm,
great.
yeah.
Okie doke, moving on again. On the 14th of November, this is an event in the West Midlands and it's entitled ReBOOT, bringing social innovation and technology together for West Midlands voluntary community faith and social enterprise organisations. And it's a collaboration interchange event for the West Midlands sector to explore, engage, and embed technology to enable your social business growth. And the blurb says, we know that voluntary community faith and social enterprise organizations often feel uncertain about what technology is out there, how much it costs, how complex and time consuming adopting technology might be, and question, will it really deliver the benefits for my enterprise? So they're offering this opportunity to see, hear, and meet the social businesses who are using technology to grow their organizations and support their product and service innovation in highly competitive markets. There's going to be a number of practical social economy showcases, expert tech know-how insights, and open, facilitate small group discussions where you ask, learn, and connect. That use that word open again. And I'm delighted to say that I'm actually chairing this event.
I'd say I thought I
Um,
recognized that name.
yeah. I have some expertise in the area, as you know, and yeah, I was delighted to be invited to support this event because getting the word out there is good, and I know loads of the people who are taking part as well, and it'll be great to have people in the room. And I suggested the ask me anything um section where people just get to say, well, how do you do this, or how
Yeah.
why did you do that, or why would I want to do this, whatever. So yeah. And our final event before we go into the stories for the week is the annual Lloyds Bank Consumer Digital Index 2024. And all we have for a link is to a Microsoft form. But the launch event is on next week, on Monday, the 18th of November. Sorry, not next week, 2 weeks' time. Monday, 18th of November, and it's a hybrid event. They're offering an in-person event at Coin Street Conference Centre, and they're also offering it on Teams. So the uh, in-person event is from 11 till 2, and the Teams event is from 11 to half 12. So it'll be on while we're on air on the 18th, but I'm hoping to take part in it, the early part of it, the 11 to 12 slot, or just before 12. And for those of you who don't know, the Consumer Digital Index is the UK's largest measure of digital and financial lives. And it does measure
Mm.
Lloyds Bank customers only, but it is, it's relevant. First published in 2016, the report uses a blend of transactional and survey data, allowing data matching of behaviours with attitudes. And I wasn't able to get a blurb about this year's event, but last year's report also included the 2023 UK Essential Digital Skills Benchmark, which is a measure of the fundamental tasks needed to access the online world, including essential digital skills needed for life and work. And Lloyds Bank commissioned the report on behalf of the Department for Education. So I think a lot of people who work in this field are eagerly awaiting that report. It does give a lot of insight. It's great that a bank invests so
Mm.
much effort into putting this together. It'll be useful for people planning services and seeing what's happened with services they have provided. Is it something that you have used in the past, Sweyn?
I have. I've referred to it and got statistics from it, and
Mm,
yes, it's a very useful report indeed.
yeah. So we would hope to be able to report more on it on or after the 18th of November. But if you want to go, um, there's a form available, and do contact us and we could send you on the form. It's not very, it's one of those forms that kind of takes up a lot of a lot of the URL takes up a lot of space. But we can probably compress that, can't we?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Okie doke. So moving on again, we don't have a guest this week, but I'm delighted to say that we are having guests join us in future episodes of the Dr. Tech Show. Multiple guests we have lined up for you, and we hope you'll be very excited. Mostly new guests, I think. We don't think we've got any regular guests at the moment lined up, but you'll be interested to hear a lot of the new people we've got coming. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for announcements about that. So moving on again to our shout outs and news stories we picked up over the last week or so. The first one is a video actually about from the Global Digital Inclusion Partnership about closing the gender digital divide through meaningful connectivity. And the blurb is there's a big difference between basic connectivity and meaningful connectivity. When we talk about meaningful connectivity, we talk about a standard that enables you to connect in a way you're able to use the connectivity to help transform your life. And that's a quote from Afro Diva on the Birdie platform. Okay, do you want to play the video, Sweyn?
I will do.
Great, thank you.
Oops.
There's a big difference between basic connectivity and meaningful connectivity. When we talk about meaningful connectivity, we talk about a standard that enables you to connect in a way that you are able to use the connectivity to help transform your life. So it also is about having a minimum standard for the speed with which you connect. 4G at minimum is the kind of speed that will allow you to do things like take an educational course, attend meetings, learn a new skill even, and maybe even run a business. In addition to the speed, it's important for you to be able to have access on a daily basis.
We've known for many years now that there is a persistent gender digital divide where women are far less likely
to have access to the internet and furthermore to have meaningful connectivity. So in our Connected Resilience study, we undertook different methodologies, including a survey in 6 countries where we surveyed women across Africa and Asia from urban and rural areas located and where they live within the country, with rural and remote areas being twice less likely to have internet access, women with lower levels of education and fewer educational opportunities being far less likely to have access to the internet.
Government has to be able to invest in digital infrastructure. Private sector is not going to do it alone. I think what it requires is not just the multi-stakeholders coming together, but being intentional about closing the divide by investing in the infrastructure, by also investing in the demand side aspect of it, because we can no longer afford to take an attitude of build it and they will come.
There are around 25,000 unconnected villages in India, which means there's no mobile connectivity. That means you can't call people and there's no internet connectivity either. So that is the general picture of unconnectivity in India. And what happens is that the traditional internet service providers are not interested in setting up internet connectivity in this region because there is very low profit. So we have different approaches. So where people are absolutely unconnected, we set up community networks using unlicensed spectrum internet. And where there is internet, but there is no fast internet, for example, the tea gardens of Assam and West Bengal we are working, we will set up 130 internet libraries where we boost the connectivity from the closest tower.
We looked at how women from different sectors were actually using the internet, especially during the pandemic, how important it was for them to be connected. Internet was really a game changer for a lot of women, especially during the pandemic. There was that realization on the importance of being connected. You know how isolated we were during the pandemic.
I think in this extremely fast-paced world where we're talking about emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, generative AI, I think we forget that the fundamental infrastructure of all of this is internet itself. And currently there's a huge gap in terms of making sure that everybody has access to this very fundamental technology. Not everybody is connected, not everybody is meaningfully connected. There are many systemic barriers to being able to access the internet.
But on the same side, we need to be able to look at how do we get the 50%, the men, involved in this process with us? Because gender empowerment and inclusion requires both genders to help on this discussion. And for us to be able to come up with a better mechanism that can go beyond talking.
If you narrow it down and you deep dive into it, gender digital divide has been very stubborn. You know, it has slowly started to shift, particularly in South Asia, but still one of the worst regions in that sense are actually in Asia.
We are all working together and leveraging this collective power that we have to help advance meaningful connectivity by having civil society, private sector, as well as government and public sector working together to focus on accomplishing this mission.
Well, that was really helpful. And the for those who don't know, the Global Digital Inclusion Partnership is a coalition of public, private, and civil society organizations working to bring internet connectivity to the global majority and ensure everyone is meaningfully connected by 2030. It was founded by a global team of experts who successfully championed affordable and meaningful connectivity around the world, and it advances digital opportunities to empower and support people's lives and agency, leading to inclusive digital societies. So I thought that was really useful to give an overview of the kind of work they've been doing. I mean, they talked about 4G, Sweyn, not even 5G. You know, they're
Yes,
kind
well,
of
absolutely. I
mm,
mean, 4G is the standard that you need if you're talking about mobile connectivity for sure. 5G is a different beast, and in some ways is more expensive and more it needs greater investment in infrastructure to get it up and running. But a good quality 4G system is perfectly capable of giving us everything that we need, particularly in rural areas where numbers of people are relatively small.
Yeah, yeah, and the partnership particularly talks about women as well, and bridging the gender digital divide. Because we recognize that women and girls usually end up with less resources, and
Absolutely.
but if they are given more resources, it makes a bigger difference to communities than just funding one sector of
Yeah.
society. So yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So well done to the GDIP for that, and we wish them well, and hope we'll keep seeing how well they're doing. It's great to see that kind of visual. Really brings it home to people, I think, what's needed.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on to back to the UK. It's about a case study about bridging the digital divide with devices and data in Wigan. And this was a story, I think, probably from the Get Online Week time period. And they were successful in the Digital Wigan team were successful in acquiring 25 laptops and SIM cards from the Good Things Foundation device and data banks, with each laptop coming with a MiFi router, providing connectivity for up to 6 months. And the team created packs for the devices to go in, including TechMate's digital skills support literature, giving the residents extra help using the new device. So they're recognizing the need for device, data, and skills package. Then they worked with colleagues in the Adult Learning and Support for Wigan Arrivals team, ensuring that recipients not only met the criteria, but had a framework to grow digitally and create their own path to further learning and development. So good to see those kind of projects still happening. It's still needed, and even a small project like 25 makes a difference to a group of people, and it exponentially expands to affect other people as well. So once people in communities see certain people getting devices and stuff, they want to do that as well, and hopefully it'll help them have better lives, essentially. So yeah, good stuff. Staying with the Good Things Foundation, they wrote a piece about how digital inclusion threads through the key autumn budget priorities, which is presented last week only. It's you kind of I know a lot of people in the world wait for the autumn budget, and then it's big news, and then kind of move on. But it's it was just last week, and this is an article from the Good Things Foundation website. And they say that they heard the Chancellor's call to invest, invest, invest during the autumn budget statement. And Helen Milner, the group CEO, welcomed the £240 million investment that will get Britain working again, and looks forward to seeing essential digital skills and access for life, work and health foregrounded in the Pathways to Work pilots. However, their research shows that a £1 billion investment in digital inclusion could generate over 13 billion for the UK economy, which would mean nearly £10 return for every £1 invested. And they go on to pick out particular parts of the community that would be affected. They say about the economy, the new pilots to get people back to work are promising and have good potential to stimulate economic growth, but they're saying digital inclusion must be part of these pilots, which is something I regularly get a chance to say in my work as well. Around health, they say the budget's additional 22.6 billion for healthcare could have a transformative impact, but digital health access remains a major gap for many. At least 20.7 million people are still not using the NHS app. We would kind of have a health warning, if you like, around the NHS app. It's not always that easy to use, and people do struggle with it. We've talked about it on the show before, but there are advantages to using it that could be transformative. So yeah, we'd encourage people to try, and encourage organisations to keep helping people to try to use the NHS app. Around connectivity, in 2024, Good Things Foundation report that Ofcom reported 24% of households had difficulty affording communication services. Rural connectivity is improving, they say, but still challenging, and they welcome continued investment and look forward to working with DSIT to make affordable and reliable connectivity a reality. On AI readiness, they say the upcoming AI Opportunities Action Plan will outline how public services and the economy might benefit from AI, but to ensure that people and critically our workforce can fully leverage AI, digital and media literacy must be recognized as the essential foundations for AI literacy. So yeah, so say all of us, constantly talking about AI these days. Yeah, hopefully, it will all kind of come together as one piece. And the last piece I picked out on that was from about education. The government's £300 million investment in further education and the creation of Skills England will help bridge gaps in skills training across the UK. I don't know how Skills England won't affect Scotland, though, will it, Sweyn, or Wales, or
I wouldn't
Northern
have thought so,
Ireland?
but there we are.
Maybe there's equivalent being created as well. But they go on to ask about the digital skills gap, and their latest polling showed only 22% of adults feel confident in using digital skills to advance their careers. So that's still not enough. So yeah, some good things happening, hopefully, but not for everybody. So yeah, we want to see more happening. And I think as I said, they've just picked out things from the budget statement and references, connected them with digital inclusion. And I think it's good to do that, to see how things that are announced affect things that we're all interested in. So, any more comment from you on any of that, Sweyn?
I think it's lots of good points made, and it's good to see how they've kind of focused in on various elements of the budget. As usual, there's always a great risk that new initiatives and new programs kind of fail to acknowledge the work that's already going on. And I think this is an important way of minimizing that risk and making sure that the things that are already going on are kind of backed and made part of wider initiatives. Lots and lots of the budget, of course, is, as you hinted at, England only, because of devolution. That is devolution to Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, rather than devolution within England itself. So yeah, I think though that what England does quite often serves as a model or an inspiration for what other parts of the UK do, and vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and the other thing is that funding for the devolved administrations will increase in line with funding increases in England, because that's how the system works. So although it's then up to the individual governments in the three other areas to decide how to use that money.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, it's a good piece of work, this, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the main kind of underlying theme and one they keep talking about, because we have to keep talking about it, is that the investment in digital inclusion could generate, £10 return for every £1 investment. You can't argue with that, really. So
Yeah.
let's hope we see more of
Yeah.
that happening.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then another kind of global story, which kind of emphasizes the economic point made in the piece we've just read about, is an opinion piece published on devex.com that digital inclusion must be central to global economic growth plans. And this is a story written around the global leader gathering for the International Monetary Fund and World Bank annual meetings, which I think took place recently or are about to take place. The world faces escalating challenges that threaten economic stability and growth. As policy makers and economic leaders consider pathways to sustainable growth, digital access and digital literacy must be prioritized within any global economic policy debated at the meetings. Indeed, the IMF World Bank gathering is unfolding against the backdrop of a digital divide that prevents billions of underserved individuals from accessing fair opportunities to participate in the global digital economy. So just reinforcing the previous story, really. I wasn't able to find out when the IMF and World Bank are having their annual meetings. Maybe that's something we can identify during the course of
Yes.
one of the videos we're going to be watching shortly. But yeah, just to say that everybody needs to have it on the radar, basically, that digital inclusion affects so much of what we do. So if it's not happening, then people are going to be left out.
Sure.
Okay. I picked up another video that we're just about to go into now, which is about households into work clients completing digital inclusion training, and this I think was in Liverpool. So this is a 2-minute 2-minute 19-second video. So let's
So
have a look at that.
Liverpool City Region Combined Authority. That's a bit of a
That's the
mouthful, but
one.
I'm sure
Yeah.
we know what that means.
We're in Man Island today, where a group of clients from the Liverpool City Region's Households into Work programme have been here completing a digital inclusion programme where they've been given a tablet to take away, and that's been provided by Lloyds and Vodafone and other partners. Households into Work supports people to ultimately get back into education, employment and training, and we specifically support people who need a little bit of extra help to get back into work. With this tablet, they're given 40 gig of data, they're given calls and text as well within that, which will just mean that they can get online. So, that could be completing a job application, or it could be going online to check their online banking or doing shopping. It just means that they can access what everyone can access essentially, and they can do that from home.
I've come in today through Households into Work, and I've done the digital inclusion course, and I've been given a tablet to take away with me. Once we've learned what's what with us today, I'll then be able to use it to FaceTime my children. I'll also be able to do video interviews and just generally day-to-day life as well with it.
I'm from Kyiv, Ukraine, and actually I have been here since 1st April of 2022. I would like to say thanks a million for this device. I think I could use it for my education. I'm also self-employed, and I'm going to use some social media. This device would be really helpful.
This is essential for me because I have severe COPD. So to learn online banking, how to order me food, everything like that, doctors, it's essential that I learn that for me.
To be online when you're looking for work is absolutely essential. So employers recruit online, not just by posting the job adverts online, but also now it's quite often that you'll see an interview is also online. So being able to connect via Zoom or through Teams is very, very common now, and a lot of education's done online as well, so it's essential that people are included.
Great. I love seeing these little videos, Sweyn, where you can see in real time the practical results of a digital inclusion program. That's only a small group of people being able to get online, but the big difference it'll make, and those devices obviously will be used not just by them but their families as well.
Right. And when you hear the lists of things that people are hoping to do with them, I mean, it just brings home to you again and again that if you haven't got the device, or you haven't got the confidence, or there's some barrier in the way, how many things now, particularly since the pandemic, are online. And yeah.
So well done to that organization for getting those devices into people's hands, and people who are obviously in need, and who will appreciate them very much. And I don't think they I think it should be okay as well to say that they'll use them for social things as well, watching films and communicating with the family. If they did want them, they did say communicating with families, but it's fine. So digital covers every aspect of your life, so you shouldn't be expected to cut off from life to support your work, etc.
Those things are very important for well-being, and well-being makes you more productive, and being more productive makes you feel better. So it's all part of the same,
absolutely,
the same bunch of issues.
So just briefly referring to the previous item, we were able to get the dates for the IMF and World Bank annual meetings. That was the 25th to the 27th of October. So yeah, we do hope that they discussed pathways to digital access and digital literacy at that meeting, and if we find out more, we will be able to report on that in the future. Okay, the next item is talks about the architects of digital navigators. I thought this was interesting because for me it's useful to have the language of being able to describe what people are doing to help people get online. And these there's a graphic from Boston Consulting Group, and so I picked that up on Twitter, on the can't call it Twitter anymore, the Birdie program, the Birdie platform, and then I found an article on the BCG website about the approach, and basically they're saying that nearly 20% of Americans lack broadband access or a device to tap into the internet. This was 2022, and the digital navigators include individuals trained to help people get online can bridge the gap. So Sweyn's got the tweet on the screen at the moment, and the archetypes are intervention specialists, digital inclusion specialists, social change agents, and functional skill builders. And they range from staff at organizations like libraries and schools, staff at organizations fully dedicated to serving digital needs, staff at organizations that offer digital support to enable holistic life outcomes, and staff at organizations with digital skills training for targeting purposes. So I think I find having these kind of language to be able to describe people really useful, especially when I'm going to be writing bids and stuff like that. And I think it's useful for people themselves to identify which of those digital navigators they are. I mean, I would say I do all of them at some stage, but most people have like just one. And then they identify the superpowers of each of those, so the so-called superpowers each of those specialists have. So like the people at libraries and schools have quick answers and basic digital supports and triaging, and then they can refer people on to other things. The digital inclusion specialists at organizations fully dedicated to serving digital needs have dedicated training and resources and are a go-to referral center. Social change agents have trusted long-term relationships with people and deep understanding of community-specific needs, and I think that's again something I'm coming across in the West Midlands, where all these people need to get together to kind of share information so we can make a better approach to providing services. And then the functional skill builders have an alignment of digital skill building with concrete goals and outcomes. So I think they're all needed. They are all connected. So going back to kind of the archetypes from the beginning, the intervention specialists are more likely to be visited just once or twice. The digital inclusion specialists are especially good at improving digital usage and comfort. The social change agents draw more users who seek support for multiple needs, and the functional skill builders are more likely to provide support for building specific skills. So again, they're all connected, and I just found it really useful to have them all together like this.
I think they're all it's archetypes, so there'll be individuals with, as you say, with elements of each of these. But it's a good way of kind of checking the thoroughness of your digital offerings, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because people are going to need, or groups of different people within communities are going to need these 4 different types of skills. And it's possible that you could imagine that you were saying that you recognize yourself in one or two of these, and realize that either you have to be able to offer the others or to find somebody else who can.
Yeah, exactly. And like there'll be like in my organization, there'll be, which is I would say composed of social change agents overall. There are digital inclusion specialists within that because we offer projects
Yes.
that cover that. So yeah, it's good to, as I say, have the language to describe what's happening. Moving on, we're looking at the Australian government. This article has a target. It says that the government has a target for Indigenous digital inclusion, but unfortunately, the second line in the headline is it's got little hope of meeting it. And this is an article from a website called theconversation.com, talking about digital exclusion, stifling Indigenous creativity, restricting access to essential tools, skills, and platforms crucial for digital expression and innovation. And for many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, this exclusion leads to missed opportunities, particularly in areas linked to economic prosperity, such as employment and education. And as the government's policy focuses on economic empowerment, this is a major barrier. And I thought it was interesting to note that the First Nations Digital Inclusion Plan offers a comprehensive strategy focused on 3 key pillars. They are access to telecommunication services, devices, and data, affordability, the cost of services, devices, and data, and ability, skills, attitude, and confidence with technology. I thought this was a really, often you see a much bigger list of pillars that people have to kind of straddle, and just having them in these three I found really useful. The initiatives such as the Australian Digital Inclusion Index focused mostly on rural, remote communities, highlights persistent challenges across all three areas. And they go on to talk about AI presenting both opportunities and challenges. When led by Indigenous people, it holds transformative potential across multiple sectors. It could enhance learning tailored to Indigenous knowledge systems, help in the revitalisation and preservation of languages, and improve healthcare delivery. It could also empower Indigenous businesses by optimising operations and market reach. And then it goes on to talk about work. People work in the field because obviously it's one of those, if you can't see it, you can't be it. As of 2022, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people accounted for less than 1.4% of tech workers. So the article says there urgently needs to be more support to boost this figure, because technology like AI presents potential careers for Indigenous people. But currently, and they're not employed in the industries involved in AI. Of the global study of people working in this specific industry, Indigenous participation was not noted. Now, that's either because they didn't collect the data or it just wasn't happening. So, yeah. So, again, we're discovering, a group of people who are being left out of some of the development that's going on. It's great to have a target, but if you're not actually making practical plans for reaching it, then it's just not going to happen. And I thought this would kind of echo with other Indigenous groups and groups targeted by racism, for example, around the world. So yeah, relevant to our work. Okay, and again, an article from another part of the world and where we're in. This is from Rwanda. This is a joint initiative to empower small traders through digital technology. And I think hopefully this will refer back to the ReBOOT event that I'll be chairing next week. I'll be able to refer to this one. This is an initiative entitled Amplifying Digital Opportunities in Cross-Border Trade, which kicked off in October in Kigali in Rwanda to give a fresh boost to the Sustainable Development Goals, which again is something that we've talked about before on here, and it's good to have mentioned again. And this is a key component of the Digital High Impact Track under the United Nations Joint SDG Fund. This initiative seeks to harness digital innovation, data analytics, and emerging technologies to drive sustainable development. It aims to help Rwandan traders, particularly small business owners, better access digital platforms, financial services, and new markets, which are crucial to improving livelihoods and promoting inclusive economic growth. The president, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, said small and medium businesses are the backbone of Africa's economy, but they should not remain small and medium. Going on to more from this article, it says, with women representing over 70% of small-scale cross-border traders, the program emphasizes gender equality and empowering female entrepreneurs as agents of social and economic transformation. It focuses on dismantling barriers that hinder women's participation in digital trade by accessing their access to digital tools, financial literacy training, and market opportunities. It aligns with Rwanda's National Strategy for Transformation, Smart Rwanda Master Plan, and Vision 2050, and will also contribute to development agendas related to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and landlocked developing countries, advancing Rwanda's integration into regional markets. So it builds on UN Trade and Development's broader work, which has supported over 580 women informal traders across 11 border crossings in sub-Saharan Africa. So some good things happening. Again, more work needed, but just good to hear, what other countries are trying to do.
All the problems are the same, and a lot
Yeah.
of the barriers are the same, and it's just interesting to see how different countries focus on different sectors and trying to get things done.
Yeah. So back to the UK, we've got a list of support or a link to support that exists for those who've suffered online abuse. And unfortunately, we recognise that while we're encouraging people to be online, we also want people to be safe online. And this is from a charity called Glitch, an award-winning UK charity ending online abuse and championing digital citizenship with a particular focus on Black women and marginalised people. They've created the Fix the Glitch toolkit, an informational and facilitation guide to help people understand and combat digital misogynoir, which is a combined force of anti-black racism and misogyny directed towards black women during election periods. So obviously it's it was created a while ago, but it's still relevant, obviously, because abuse unfortunately doesn't go away after the election. This Fix the Glitch kit was created to support Be Safe Online, which is their campaign supporting the safety, protection, and participation of black women politicians through raising awareness about digital misogynoir and sharing safeguarding tools to stop online abuse during the 2024 general election. They go on to say everyone who uses the online space is a digital citizen, and as digital citizens, we can all do more to make our online spaces safer and help those experiencing online abuse. We can do this by being online active bystanders, both as individuals and organizations. The article shares that 1,800,000 people suffered threatening behavior online in the past year. Glitches and EVA's ripple effect report showed this is worse for women and significantly worse for women of colour, and this has sadly increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. They recommend taking screenshots of the abuse and filing them in a folder, logging the incident in a simple table with the date, time, and site, and most importantly, the impact it has had. It's important to document how it makes you feel to prove the incident caused anxiety, intimidation, or fear of greater harm. They go on to quote that Amnesty International UK found that Black and Asian women MPs received about 35% more abuse than other groups of MPs. Elsewhere, Dr. Sophia Collingdon, Assistant Professor in Political Communication at Royal Holloway, University of London, has shown that women and young political candidates are more likely to suffer from harassment, which can stop MPs from standing for re-election. Where essential voices are silenced in this way, online abuse becomes a threat to democracy. So all important but disappointing, sad to see that this is happening, but hopefully the tool will help people to find ways around it and stand up for themselves, and register what's happening and kind of have it stopped, hopefully.
Again, it's a good practical framework for looking at this stuff, a bit like the Digital Navigators story earlier on. It kind of provides language and practices and habits that can help with actually addressing the problem. It's great.
Yeah. So well done to Glitch for having that on the website, and we can recommend that to you. And we come on to another video, and this is called A Spectrum of Digital Inclusion from the Norwegian Centre for E-Health Research, and it's 2 minutes and 40 seconds long.
Digital advances attempt to achieve equal access to healthcare. However, for every step we take forward, some of us will fall behind, creating a gap between the digitally included and excluded. Let's take a closer look at this digital divide and see how it might be hindering your right to health and care. The right to health must be enjoyed without discrimination on the grounds of race, age, ethnicity, or any other factor. Most of us think of the digital divide as absolutes. You are included or excluded. However, the Norwegian Centre for E-Health Research has found that our society creates a spectrum of digital exclusion. Most of us will be somewhere in between, and our placement on the spectrum depends on a wide range of factors. Age is a factor, of course. Whether you are a digital native or a senior, you must master new tools in order to navigate the intricacies of our digital society. Your social background affects your health and potentially your level of digital inclusion, whether you are wealthy or highly educated, and whether your parents were. Frustrating experiences can make someone uncomfortable with digital tools, feeling like technology is not useful or even helpful. Maybe you miss the personal experience when talking to your doctor using a video call. There are differences between living in town and in a rural area, like having high-speed internet, or internet at all. Is it even possible to have a video consultation with your doctor? You have people around you who can help? And if you do, it doesn't necessarily mean you are comfortable with letting them dig through your personal health record. Have you lived in the same country your whole life? If not, how fluent are you in the local language? And how familiar are you with the local healthcare system? And there are disabilities and injuries that make digital tools difficult or even impossible to use. The digital divide is constantly changing. Barriers can be long-term or unexpected, and your level of digital inclusion will change throughout your life. Meaning, Each of us will face new challenges when attempting to use digital healthcare services in the future. New digital tools help many of us, but exclude others. Governments, policymakers, and tech developers need to have realistic expectations about who can benefit from what they're creating. That's why especially vulnerable groups need to have the right kind of equipment, access, and support in order to make the most of digitalization. Remember, the goal is equity in healthcare.
And again, a useful little video to show that people can move in and out of digital inclusion, as we know from our friend Cara Ullman that we've spoken to on previous seasons of the show. But yeah, I just think there's so much to think about. It's good to have a little video to remind people of what they need to be thinking about on an ongoing basis. We take it, we do this all the time, but it's not everybody's experience, so it's good to be reminded and have an accessible video like that to help people think
And
about
it's
it.
good for people like us to remember that the goalposts are constantly moving and the challenge is constantly evolving as new things happen and as more people take up some channels and more people get left behind because they don't.
Yeah. So thanks to the Norwegian Centre for eHealth Research for that, and we hope it'll be useful to some of our listeners and readers and viewers. Okay, we're coming to the last of our stories, and well, second last, I think. Yeah, we've got one video at the end, and we return to our one of our favorite topics, libraries.
Hooray!
This is called Digital Inclusion in Montgomery County Public Libraries in the US, and this is about what happened during COVID-19 and what happened subsequently to that. And the article is from digitalgovernmenthub.org, a post, Digital Service Network Spotlight. And they talk about as the COVID-19 pandemic unfolded, public library systems across the United States demonstrated agility, impressive outreach, and rapid digitization to continue serving patrons. And then, prompted by these pandemic-era demands, Maryland's Montgomery County Public Library System renewed its emphasis on digitally inclusive service delivery. They redesigned the library's website, information architecture, created a digital library card, and developed a mobile library application to increase access to and use of library services for the communities they serve. So after COVID, they went on to kind of develop a bit more, and the article goes on to say that MCPL, the acronym for Montgomery County Public Library, oversees a network of 21 library branches serving more than 1 million residents, similar to Birmingham, really. In March 2020, the executive Matt Elridge's Office of Legislative Oversight published a report on the role of libraries in overcoming the inequities in digital access. And so, motivated by this report, the staff at the library developed a strategic plan to promote greater digital inclusion, which launched an extensive user experience research effort to understand challenges and pain points of patrons' experiences, which ultimately led to a redesign of their website, a new online process to become a member, and a mobile library application, which all sounds magnificent. They really responded to a need and an opportunity. For membership, they built an online residency verification tool because membership had been taking ages for people to sign up to. Could be up to an hour or more and had to be in person. But this tool uses a combination of email verification, IP address syncing, and a geographic information system map to verify a new member's eligibility. Takes about 30 seconds compared to the 10+ minute in-person process, which didn't take into account patrons' travel time. Because they had to do it in person. So from an accessibility and equity standpoint, the tool also increases access to library membership for county residents with constraints like mobility limiting disabilities, limited access to transportation, or multiple jobs. So that just sounds brilliant, and I think a lot of libraries could kind of use that as a model. They talk at the end of the article about lessons learned. And this again is kind of could be useful information for lots of other libraries and other digital support organizations. They talk about enterprise-wide strategies can be wielded as key enablers of digital transformation. Savvy digital service practitioners in government capitalize on county-wide priorities to muster resources and executive support for their work, and they hold themselves accountable to county mandates and guidelines to ensure digital transformation efforts are undertaken in service of constituents. That's number one. Number two is staff are essential stakeholders. Incorporating staff into the early stages of any digital delivery overhaul is key to challenging expectations, building enthusiasm for new ways of doing, and ensuring that critical expertise is captured. Very important. Thirdly, open source solutions are a powerful tool for government digital service delivery. And I know that colleagues in this country through Local Gov Digital have also been talking about this on a regular basis. The article says open source solutions are developed in an information ecosystem that can enable government practitioners with limited resources to tailor products for their needs. When an open source tool has an active and dedicated development community, patches, notes, new features, and more are freely shared, agnostic of profit motive, very important, allowing governments to benefit from the collective knowledge and investment of the entire community. And finally, and last but not least, really, accessibility consideration benefits all users. And we've talked about this many times before. Inclusive government digital delivery demands close and careful attention to the needs of certain groups. But when you design for these groups, there are many users who benefit downstream from this investment. Designing for accessibility benefits everyone. So I thought that was great. You know, bringing all that kind of together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much learning that could be copied elsewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, and we come to our final item for today, which is from Interfaith Works of City of New York about their digital inclusion program. And I thought this was a sweet little video to show the impact of digital inclusion on one person and their story. So take it away, Sweyn.
My name is Jacinta Sevilla, and I'm from the Caribbean island of St. Kitts and Nevis. My husband had a stroke. I took care of him for 6 years, and it was very overwhelming. It was just myself alone. And after the doctors decided to place him in a home where he can get around-the-clock care, I wanted to do something to help regain my confidence and help me heal from all that I've been through. I was introduced to the digital inclusion class by Interfaith Works. I could recommend it to anyone. It's a great program. And once you get to learn about the digital and the technology that's out there, you can research and do anything online for yourself. I did that right here in the building with Mr. Wood and Mansour. Our social worker, he tried to get things for us to do as seniors, and I decided to take the class. I have a cellular phone, but as senior, I always told myself, why would I get involved with technology and computer? But when Mr. Klein told us about the classes, we're going to have 6 weeks of classes, I decided to join. It was a great experience. And from there, I could have moved on and do something else with the little knowledge that I got about technology. Sometime I would read, and I will go back over what I had learned in the 6 weeks that they prepared us. And I think it's a good thing, especially for seniors. Everything now is online. When I go places and they tell me, you have to go online, it disappointed me. But now I can do that. I will get on YouTube and read things, search for different programs. But the technology, I like it, and I think everyone should, every senior should be able to reach out, because now we have a lot of government program online, the libraries online. That is something I try to explore myself here at home. And from the digital inclusion class, I could have moved on to do something else. There's a lot of things they can do online. I love to do embroidery, cross stitch, and I always search for patterns and pictures. I don't waste time. I'm always reading. I'm always looking for something. Yes. It's great. I did ask Mr. Wood or Mansour who put the program together, and he told me they did. And I was surprised because, you know, they did it in a way that any senior could understand. I would recommend the seniors to try and learn the technology. I know when we ask our children questions about technology, they have no time for us. So we are just placed on the back burner, but thank God for Interfaith. I love that program. I love Interfaith.
I'm asking.
Oops. I thought that was lovely. Someone's really experienced of doing an inclusion program.
Absolutely.
That meant a lot to them.
Very good. Very,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
I like the comment about when you ask your children, they've got no time for you,
Yeah.
because I think that's quite a common
Yes,
experience.
unfortunately, yeah. So well done
Yeah.
to Interfaith Works for that. And well done to that lady for coming on and talking about her experience. As you could see, she was a bit nervous. She was kind of but it was good, very good of her to share her time and her insight. So hopefully it'll encourage other people to give these programs a go. And that brings us to the end of our
Indeed.
episode this week. Thanks very much for joining us. Please have a great week.